Hi, welcome to Activity 2.2 of the HP Catalyst Academy course, Blending Computer Skills in Science Curriculums. In the previous activity, we tried to classify basic computer skills for elementary and primary classes into 4 stages. In this activity, we will take a look at some of the science activities that can be easily blended into your science lesson plans to build digital literacy skills. So let's get started. At the end of this unit, you should be introduced to some of the interesting ways to blend science and basic computer skills. You will be able to identify activities and computer applications relevant for kids who are not very fluent in English. Let's go back to our 4-stage classification from our earlier video. We said that stage 1 was appropriate for kids who've never seen or worked on a computer before. Remember that at the beginning of the course, we mentioned that this course was designed specially for teachers working with economically disadvantaged children. These are kids who would be seeing the computer for the first time, and stage 1 helps them become familiar with very basic operations of the computer. They will be encouraged to use simple applications to help them operate the touchpad and the mouse. They will also be able to input basic text and paint simple pictures. For you, the Science or STEMx teacher, you could choose from a variety of offline or online interactive science activities that involve mouse operations such as left click, double click, and drag and drop. At this stage, we recommend that your science assignments are exclusively mouse-based or exclusively text-based. To get comfortable with the mouse, you could try drawing and painting assignments related to science topics. This is an activity that we found extremely popular with students. Text-based activities, such as crosswords or word search grids related to science terms, can be a great way to build their STEMx vocabulary. This is a great activity for English language learners who might find science terms very daunting. Word searches and grids, and particularly doing these activities on a computer, can be a great way to take away the fear and make it more fun. Here's a sample application from our learners. On the left is a drawing of a simple landscape along with shadows, an activity that followed a science lesson on light and shadows. And yes, this was the first time these students were working on a computer. On the right is a word search activity. Finding and highlighting hidden words from a grid is a great way to get learners to use fonts, highlights, and other emphasis. It's also a fun way to master new science vocabulary. Once your students are comfortable with the mouse and keyboard, they're now ready for stage 2. Let's quickly recall what we discussed about stage 2. Stage 2 is appropriate for kids who are comfortable in inputting text and drawing simple pictures. They are now ready to be introduced to a program or application such as PowerPoint or Microsoft Word. We recommend use of PowerPoint for tasks that need combining text and images. At this stage, science activities can involve learners adding appropriate captions to a set of images given to them. These can be done through Word and PowerPoint. A simple PowerPoint activity would be to give them a few slides, each showing a stage in a scientific process or phenomenon. Students can be asked to caption and explain each of these images. To add some more complexity, you could try a science riddle. A simple PowerPoint presentation with the images jumbled. Students can be asked to reorder these images and then caption them. The science riddle would require students to understand the science process, understand how PowerPoint works, and communicate to the audience their understanding of the science. You could also ask them to type science terms and definitions on Microsoft Word. Again, ask them to use font styles and highlights to communicate what part of the definition is key to understanding the term. For those of you working with non-English speakers, try getting students to type definitions and captions in their local language, but using English alphabets as a script. You will find that it can be quite exciting for students to do that. Here's a sample project created by students by playing with text boxes. We asked them to simply display all the new terms they had learned after a chemistry class on mixtures and separation. We also told them to change the color and size of the words depending on what technique they enjoyed and liked studying. You'll notice that we did this activity with non English speakers who made a few spelling errors. As a science teacher, plan to spend some time correcting their spellings at the end of the session. You might also want to teach them how automatic spell check works so that you can ensure that students spell it correctly from the very beginning. Within a few weeks, students will be ready for stage 3. In stage 1 and 2, students only worked with one application at a time. In stage 3, they will learn to work with two applications in parallel. One of the applications could be web-based, and so stage 3 is a great stage to start teaching them about the internet. When introducing the internet, it is important to ensure a safe browsing environment. Please do understand the parental control settings in your school network very carefully. There are also several internet tutorials specifically designed for children that provide them useful information about web safety. Apart from the internet, the other application could be a productivity tool such as MS Word or PowerPoint. In stage 3, learners can start to learn how to insert, delete, and manipulate images as well as text. Students can use image and web-based search to answer science queries or find images appropriate to a process that they're being asked to describe. Although the obvious way to working with the internet is to use text-based search to browse information, it can be quite troublesome for English language learners. For them, you could start by introducing them to Google Images before using Google Search. Working with Google Images only requires inputting of a few keywords. Even when you proceed to text-based search, we recommend that you also teach them how to use Google Translate. This allows learners to read and understand any website in a language of their own choice. Increasingly, there are websites specifically for English language learners like the Simple English Wikipedia. It's a great resource for simple science documentation projects and to get kids to start doing some elementary research. It could be as simple as finding the story of an interesting discovery or an inspiring scientist. Here's a simple exercise where students wondered how electricity got to their homes. The activity required them to use Google Search to type the question, Google Translate to understand the search results and answers, and MS Word to document their finding. You'll be amazed at how quickly students proceed from barely knowing what a computer contains to using the web like professionals. You're finally ready to get your learners to stage 4. Stage 4 is all about collaboration, communication, and rounding up on any leftover skills. This is where your students will start to email each other, video conference each other, and start working on group-based projects. At this point, they should be able to independently choose the application most suited for the task. An activity through email could simply be a question and answer session, with one group asking a science question and the other group tasked with the job of finding the right science answer using the web. To make it more fun, throw in a little prize for the group that finds the most number of answers. You could even split the class into groups and have them play science charades or 20 questions through video conferencing software. Here's a list of email exchanges between students of a certain school. They were asking and testing each other's knowledge about a variety of science topics, such as the solar system. In return, students found out information using the web and sent back attachments containing what they had learned as proof of their newfound knowledge. Before we wrap up, let's quickly revisit some of the strategies for English language learners. Spend time on mouse-based activities in the beginning. Text-heavy assignments may distract them and have them spend time searching for the right word and typing it out instead of understanding how the computer works. You'll notice that many of the activities we've described are visual. This is deliberate, so that students start getting more and more confident with computers. Don't let go of opportunities to use computing terminologies such as cut, copy, paste, search as a chance to build their English vocabulary. Most of these terms are actually words English speakers use all the time. So encourage your students to start using them in their regular conversations with their friends and peers. When text is required, encourage them to type their native words using English characters. This will help them improve typing and keyboarding skills. At the same time, encourage them to use appropriate English words for scientific vocabulary and terminologies. When introducing them to search, introduce Google Images first before Google Search. This reduces text dependency since it only requires inputting 2 to 3 keywords. At the same time, it still gives learners a sense of the resources available on the internet. While Google allows searching in native languages, the pool of websites remain restricted to those written in local languages or those with transliteration enabled. So we'd like to end with the final word on online translation tools such as Google Translate, which really opens students up to using the widest possible pool of resources, the majority of which are in English. We hope you've discovered that in 4 simple stages, you can very quickly get your students to be very adept at computers in a matter of a few weeks. There's a wide range of science-related activities that are possible for each of these stages, so it can all be done within the confines of your science classroom. The screenshots you saw just now are from actual learners, so we know that this is really possible, even for students who aren't fluent in English. Now we believe you do too. Thank you for watching this video. We now invite you to join us in the discussion group to tell us what you thought about these activities and tell us about any other suggestion you might have.